Okay, we're back. This is now the 5th week. Managed to keep it going, more than a month, more than just a 1 off or 2 off or 3 off or 4 off. We're back with the Rick Antonio podcast. I'm Rick Antonio in for your updates. We've got a lot to talk about. Took the last 2 weeks off, had a birthday, had a lot of life stuff going on. Tyler CK's got the week off this week. In his place, though, we've got Alex the Sports Mouth Melendrez, my cousin. Guy knows what the hell he's talking about. Let's give him a warm welcome.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, but like I was saying, we got a lot to talk about. He's read up on what we're talking about and filled in on a lot of the stuff. Let's first start with, like I said, a lot of the news. We'll get to sports in just a moment, his forte. But starting off, let's start with the mask updates. A lot of people are getting vaccinated. A lot of people are wanting to stop wearing the masks, and the CDC saying, hey, if you get both shots and you're older and you're wanting to have parties together, summer, 4th of July together, sure, whatever. But just reading off of the first article we've got lined up from Newsweek, and again, this is a week or two old, but it's still very relevant today.
Right.
Wyoming has ended its mask mandate, becoming now the 17th state without a face covering rule. Wyoming, the other states included, that includes Texas, Mississippi, Iowa, Montana, North Dakota, all ending their statewide requirements, making people wear masks that cover their nose and mouth to limit the spread of COVID-19. Did you know, Alex, that there are actually 11 states that never required masks in the first place?
You know what? I didn't. I know one of them was Arizona.
Yep.
We talked about that on our podcast, and basically, my cousin and the co-host, they were like, it was like nothing was ever going on over there from the start. So, which is crazy. And another crazy part is, my cousin came down here in last October, and guess what he went back home with?
Oh,
COVID.
Wouldn't
COVID.
you guess? Yeah, those. It's really catching on like glitter.
Yeah, and he got better, thank God, and everything. So
you see all these porch traps for porch pirates with glitter bombs inside. That's basically it. The 11 states that never needed masks in the first place. You said Arizona. That includes Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, and Tennessee. So
Alaska,
a lot of those states.
I would have never thought Alaska.
I would have guessed Alaska. Just.
I mean, well, yeah. I guess so. That, among other things, but yeah.
But included in that, again, you got spring break. I mean, you got people going down to Texas and Florida and all these southern states for spring break. You got to be worried about, is that going to be another one of those super spreader events? Also, on the topic of COVID, I don't want to stay on it too long because this ain't the COVID podcast. Just like every week I've talked about Tom Brady or Elon Musk somehow. I don't want it to be the Elon cast,
Yeah.
We did get another stimulus. There was a package passed and approved fairly quickly by the U.S. Congress. That was the read-up on that's actually from CBS, and the reason we're still using that is because, we just got the checks this week. Unless you're still waiting on yours.
I still haven't even got my first one.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Wait, the 1,200 from last year or the 600 from...
No, go ahead.
No, the 1,200 from last year or the 600 from December?
I didn't get nothing. And I'm hoping I do have a Chime card. Shout out to Chime. Maybe we can get a sponsor there or something. But
hey.
But no, and I'm hoping to get something. My mother actually is infatuated with watching YouTube. Getting all the information off of YouTube. I don't know what she's watching,
you gotta
but
be careful with that.
Constantly telling me well, this is what's going on, and she's just like my news updater,
right?
Stuff like that. Political world, so
political pundit.
But and you know what? To be honest with you, I personally have not been waiting for no check or nothing. Yeah. I'm like, if I get it, I get it. It's
But if you do, if you haven't gotten it yet and you haven't done your taxes, they should be able to include that in your refund.
Well,
for my
I didn't do mine last year, and that's obviously has something to do with it. I'm sure. I plan on doing them
Certainly this year.
tomorrow. I have a good friend of mine's mother. Like she's like a second mother to me. She's been a notary public for like the last 40 years, so plus,
Right.
so I'll be going over there to see her for sure.
Good. And what we were saying about the about that passing Congress, that was actually one of the first 50-50 votes with the new Democratic-led Congress having to be broken by Vice President Harris, Kamala Harris. So moving on from that, I just want to ask just a little bit of background because I mentioned in the past that Tyler and I'd run a show together in college. You said that you run you're part of your show, Word on the Street. You want to give just a quick background on that before we jump into the rest of what we got for today?
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you a little combo, and I'll just if I can, because I don't even think I did this on my show when we started because we were just so like ready, so anxious to get it going. So I grew up downtown in Detroit, around the corner from Tiger Stadium. I always like to bring that up, talk about that because that's why
Get your beginnings.
I have a passion for sports. And growing up around the corner from Tiger Stadium, which is Rosa Parks Boulevard. Now obviously Tiger Stadium's gone. It's a Pell League. It's condominiums. It's a whole different thing going on down there. But it is beautiful. And they did the one piece they did leave there, which I thought was amazing, was the flag that stood there for like so many years in the middle of the field, the American flag. So. Anyway, so I grew up, big baseball fan, listening to Ernie Harwell, my mother, my grandmother, all that good stuff and everything. Which is, like I said, once again, my passion for sports into the, with the Pistons and all that stuff like that. So so I always, I went to Specs Howard, 2011. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted, so when I left there, my goal was to be like photographer, videographer, all that stuff like that. But a lot of people don't realize the media world is so hard to get into, and no matter what you're doing.
You're telling me.
A lot of internship, and me and you have talked about this
1,000 times
for years, for at least a decade, almost a decade. So, I to get to the point, I had a cousin that wanted to. He kind of brought up doing a podcast with me before, and it was something I thought about doing. I said, well, look, if I applied to like 150 jobs and this and that, and I drove out to so many cities and did so many things for free. I was like, I can't do this no more. Like,
the free thing.
I'm 40 years old.
Yeah.
I have, I had 2 kids. I was married at the time and everything. So I had a lot going on, but I needed to change. And I'm glad, I don't regret nothing. I love I learned everything from that. That's why I'm here today. And once again, thank you for even thinking about me.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we
being
going.
part of this because this is something that I'm a talker, and this is something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, and that's a great thing because bouncing ideas off of you it's real easy to do when you got someone that wants to talk a lot.
Right, and there's 1,000,001 podcast. I always say there's 1,000,001 podcasts going on in the world today,
especially after the last year.
Right, and I'm a big fan of podcasts and everything. Not to bounce too much around, but I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts that me and you watched wrestling pay-per-views back in the day and stuff like that. And so anyways, my cousin reached out and he was like, let's just do this. Let's do this. So he already had the name. He told me the name, Word on the Street. I was like, I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, from you're giving me background, that's a great name for that.
He sent me the, I told you the little story.
And I seen the logo too.
He sent me the logo and stuff. And we started off and then we actually had we just did our 44th episode the other day,
it's about
Wednesday.
10 times as much as what we had
it was cool. And me and my cousin, we talked about it earlier or yesterday. We talked about it. When should we celebrate? When should we have a little celebration, etc.? And I said, well, he was like the 50th or the 100th, and I was like, I think it should be the 100th. I think it should be the 100th because there's, like I said, there's so many podcasts out there. It's flooded, but the difference between us and other people is that we do what we do we try to keep it authentic
Mm-hmm.
and be real and everything like that.
Right.
So
So
we've
now,
been getting a lot of support. So I
where
really appreciate the invite.
where can you find yours?
We are on basically everything. Word on the street, just type it in on Spotify. We're on iHeart. We do our shows on Facebook Live
Right.
at obviously I'm in Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
so our 11 a.m. Eastern, and my cousin and the co-host, shout out to Enrique Garcia, Drake Swift, Tori Richo, Savage Beast. I just got to get
Got you
them.
all
I
going
want to
down the
get their
list.
names wrong, so I'll
Yeah.
say all their handles. But you can find us on like I said, Facebook Live, and that's I believe they had their time over there is different,
Just about.
Mid Eastern or mid. But I'm bad with anything that's
Yeah,
got to do
that's
with
fine.
geography
That's
or
fine.
maps, and so so 11 a.m. our time on Saturdays, and then we do a show called Spotlight Wednesdays on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern our time, and
Good.
like I
Good,
said,
good.
usually like 6:30 their time. Maybe I think it's 7:30 now. So
And I'll have to
yep.
hook you up, get you set up with the other outlets we're on. We're still working on Apple and Facebook. Facebook more of a personal preference than a technical issue, but
Right.
at least the podcast here, we've been growing. We're on Anchor, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Just working on
Yep.
Facebook
And we're
Apple.
on all of that as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was just one thing at a time.
One at a time.
And it takes time,
Yeah.
obviously, to for anybody getting going
Right.
into that. But yeah, we're
Right.
on Twitch as well. And like I said, just type us in.
Word
Google,
on the street. There you go.
Google us, Word on the Street, and I appreciate the plug. And
Yeah, anytime. But that
the invite for sure. And
right back into
I'm ready to go.
Right back into what we were talking about. Next thing on the list, we've got. Let's talk a little bit about space. I'm not even going to bring up SpaceX or Elon Musk. Like I said, this ain't the Elon cast. But they're within the last couple of weeks. I don't know why this is April 3rd. Oh, no, I just got my dates backward. Anyway, an asteroid was found by the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, and I believe that abbreviates to JAXA. Asteroid was found holding water and organic matter essential for life. First ever. So they're starting to find things, and they're wondering if that's how life was brought to Earth. Researchers from Royal Holloway University in London analyzed a single grain from the asteroid. They've called the asteroid Itokawa, and discovered it had evolved chemically over time, which is how things things break down, things mature into other life forms. But their findings published March 4th in this case would be the journal Scientific reports complex details of the asteroid's history and could help explain the evolution pathway of Earth. And this asteroid, there were a couple other samples taken from asteroids. It looks like the organic matter had been heated, and that the asteroid had been well over 600 degrees Celsius in the past, and you can see the wear and tear on the thing. I'm wondering if and when that rover that just got sent to Mars, the most recent rover, when that's going to find something, because there's a lot of theories and conspiracies already about how that's going to go. But this, according to, looks like this is from the Telegraph and MSN. Their findings also change what were previous views on the origins of life on Earth, focusing on carbon. So, other space news, just because I don't want to stick on one thing for too long.
Yeah, I mean, I read the article and I tried to read and I tried to understand as much as I could. I was looking at the pictures. I'm more of a picture guy.
Yeah,
but
it's easy to get lost in some of these.
No, but I read it, and I was, I understood I understood what, they got across to me, what was supposed to get across. And like you said, that the fact that they said, and I thought it was funny that it says a team of international researchers that analyzed a single grain of the sample nicknamed Amazon. I was like, wow, what a name.
Oh, how about branding on that?
Yeah, right. And discovered both unheated and heated organic matter. And then, it's pretty. I mean,
It's
it's
a lot
pretty
of
amazing. It's probably more amazing to them than us.
above my pay grade,
Like,
certainly, but still something like that.
yeah. I mean, we'll
Sticking
see.
sticking with the space news because I mean it's within the last couple of weeks. We've got a lot to
Right.
talk about. China and Russia have both said, according to the Associated Press, that they'll be building a lunar research station, possibly on the moon's
Wow.
surface, and something like that. That's things you see in sci-fi movies and you see all over. Oh my goodness! A statement posted on the website of the China National Space Administration would have been around the 10th. Said the
Right.
International Lunar Research Station would also be open to be used by other countries, but gave no timeline for its construction. So they're going to
Wow.
be drawing
So
heavily
is that
on.
gonna look like
Yeah.
Total Recall
Oh
or
god.
like? I mean,
You know,
I that's the first thing that I thought about
or maybe more
when I
Blade
read
Runner get
this.
into that line. So all we need is more Arnold Schwarzenegger. Either way. So.
Right.
China says they'll be drawing on Russian expertise, go on their space program, but they'll be largely
Wow.
forging its own path. And from my understanding, they've got some people up there right now. I could be wrong, but
I mean, once again, I wouldn't know. I'm not gonna lie.
China says that their spacecrafts will closely resemble those of Russia's, like all this joint work on it, China and Russia. As long as
Right.
most of the world gets to work together on it, then that's
Right.
great.
I
but-
mean, and I mean, come on. I mean, they're China. I
Right.
don't even, not even gonna include Russia, but they're China.
Mhm.
Both of them like countries are. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure they've been.
a bit
I'm sure they've been up
shady
there
as of
for a very
lately.
long time
But,
before they decided to do something like this. So
Well, part of it too is them working together. Apparently,
Right.
they've contacted countries all around the world other than the United States, and they may have been in contact with
course.
the United States, but that's mostly because of the U.S. Congress ban on all
Right.
contact between NASA and China over concerns about technology theft and apparently secret military-backed nature of China's
Wow.
space program. Trying to make space weapons.
They
not
probably
pointing
just
any
needed
fingers,
a
but-
signature of the United States, and we're like, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I mean-
that's all we need.
Well, I mean, that's
Something
what
like that.
we're talking about. Them thinking about making space weapons, and we get the Space Force within the last couple of years. I can see where this is going.
Right.
Star Wars all over again.
Yeah.
Space, Star Trek. Skipping
yeah.
ahead.
I mean, and that might, that might come off to some as funny, but I mean,
honestly, it could get
it's
scary.
really
real
it's
quick.
realistic.
Yeah, it could get
Yeah.
scary real quick. So let me ask you this: what do you know about cryptocurrency?
Never heard of it.
You never heard of Bitcoin or
I
any of
don't-
that?
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Well, Atari.
Please.
You know the old Atari,
Delight me.
the old Atari Pong video game systems, right?
Of course. Okay. And okay, you know what? And not to cut you off, but when I seen that name,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what I thought about.
Well, they're
And
actually going to be.
I was going to do my research, and I started doing something
Mhm.
else. But so go ahead.
well,
I'm
they're
listening.
going to be opening an Atari themed casino,
Wow.
and
Wow.
instead of regular money, I mean, of course, they're probably going to take
Okay.
regular money. They'll be
Right.
taking
see.
cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. A lot of the electronic, people are mining them with their computers because once there's only so much that right now, and I'd have to look it up. Bitcoin worth. Let me look that up real quick. Bitcoin
What's the word again?
one Bitcoin is worth $58,964.50 right now. So obviously, this arcade of theirs won't be charging $58,000 to play a game.
Right.
But it's a venture partnership. This is from Gizmodo. It's a venture
Okay.
partnership with Decentral Games, and according to Atari's blog, the casino will be featuring their old nostalgia, based games. You got Pong, you got all these other
Virtual world. Right.
virtual, but the company says there will be an Atari special where players can win based on skill. That again,
Wow.
in an arcade and a casino, I'm not sure what
Is
to call
that
it
how
at
much
this point.
skill do you? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a 2-bit.
According to CoinDesk, who
That's still
is-
very cool.
yeah. According to CoinDesk,
I love it.
a news site based with a lot of those cryptocurrencies. The just lost it. The Atari Casino will be based in Vegas City, a district in Decentraland, Decentral Games Metaverse. Okay, basically a virtual world where you can use an avatar to interact. So it sounds like this is going to be more virtual than physical. I thought it was going to be an actual site.
Right, obvious, yeah.
Yeah, and the picture in the article uses the D Las Vegas, and we know all about that.
Yeah, of course. And I, I did. What I read was to they expect to see 150 million in bets in this year, and like 400 million over the next couple years. So that's huge. I mean, that's like,
and that's just
once again, and like they have right now, they have all. I need to do my bracket like as soon as we're done with the show.
Yeah,
I've been slacking, but what they got the bets, the Fox Sports bets, all the betting going on. I don't want to get too much into it because I got away from it. I used to do the football sheets at work and stuff like that with friends and socially. But I mean, there's a lot of that going on, and I mean, it's probably going to be the biggest it's ever been now.
In a while,
I used to do Poker Stars for fun and stuff like that. So.
But just looking at the Atari thing again, because why would they open something like this where you can access that? Apparently, in 2018, Atari launched their own cryptocurrency. Back in that was announced at least in September, partnering with Ultra Games for a blockchain-based game streaming service, which it says began shipping in December, this past December. So. What they're basing it on right now, they're not basing it on their money, and I know it all seems like made up words at this point for anyone that doesn't understand it, but with this digital money, a lot of the they're going to be taking it's called Ethereum. That's just a bigger name in the digital money world right now. Like I was saying, Bitcoin, Ethereum's like number 2 there for anyone who doesn't know. Players will be able to earn the Atari money by playing with the Atari tokens that you can get, and it looks like logic on this is going to be. I'm just rereading this again because it looks like it was updated.
I mean, it's kind of up in the air. I mean,
and on top of all of that, while we're still trying to figure out whether this thing's a virtual thing or not, apparently Atari is going to be building a hotel in Las Vegas, not Vegas Online. Actual physical Las Vegas that's been shut down for like the last year.
Wow.
Not to get back into COVID stories.
They're always building.
Not to get back into COVID stories, but we do have one. We've got a couple of animal stories, really. There have been some great apes at the San Diego Zoo getting COVID vaccines. Now, I know it just came out that President Biden had a goal of getting 100 million people vaccinated by within his first 100 days, and he's already hit that. I think it's at 52. He's thinking about doubling the goal, saying, "Hey, 200 million by the time he hits 100 days in office." Well, let's apparently 9 apes, 5 bonobos, and 4 orangutans at the San Diego Zoo were given 2 doses of an experimental vaccine in January and February in order to protect them against the coronavirus, according to the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. Now, we're talking people that are 65 and up. We're talking people that are underlying health issues, diabetes, et cetera, et cetera. In the meantime, we're giving it to monkeys. Literal, apes, bonobos, orangutans, chimps. I'm wondering if that time should have been spelled somewhere else.
Well, you know what?
I'd certainly.
Your first thought is totally different than mine, and I kind of feel bad because first thing that I thought when I read the article was, I feel bad for these animals. Like, they don't know what they're getting either.
Yeah, and
I was
they're not
scared
able to
for the
consent
animals.
to it. Yeah, it's like, why am I getting a shot? Something so soon too is they don't know if it's going to kill them or not.
And then you can look at it from the other side. Especially after watching that Tiger King. Yeah. You can look at it from the other side though, and it's like
mistreated animals.
Are they? Well, no, not. I wouldn't say mistreating, but like, are they trying to keep you. Do they really care about these animals, or are these animals making them that much money?
Well, I'm wondering if
know
it's
what I'm
just a
saying?
show.
So,
Are they just giving these animals the shots to get attention? Hey, we're talking
or
about it.
are they just doing that for that, and just are they lab monkeys? I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's why there were so many things that I had out, but yeah, I hear you. We
There's a
obviously got to
lot of
say
different angles on this one.
human nature comes first. I mean, so.
The doses were developed by the veterinary pharmaceutical company Zoetis. Sort of like how we've got Pfizer and Moderna. Zoetis is apparently the one for monkeys. They were tailored for animal usage and administered to the great apes after zoo officials suspected that gorillas, of all things, became sick after coming into contact with an asymptomatic zookeeper who later tested positive. So now we're going from it allegedly. I'm not going to say nothing on that. From it going from bats to humans back to monkeys. So we're going from it's full circle here, and that's when it's starting to get dangerous because it's okay. Now it can transmit from one to the other and back.
Right. Well, there was. I mean, they said in the that they were wearing masks.
Yeah, they're being careful.
They were doing their zookeeping, but I mean,
my way of looking at it is,
how are we gonna know that?
Try to get an orangutan to wear a mask. See how well that works. I mean, we've got 11 states where people don't want to wear masks as is. Well, now you're trying to get the zoo animals to do it. That's not
right.
No.
Right.
Apparently, these are the first non-human primates that were vaccinated against COVID and have been found.
Wow.
That has been found to infect the animals, including a tiger at the New York Zoo. So it's not the first time this has happened.
Right.
The set of animals did recover, and just the zoo was concerned that when the 8 gorillas tested positive and showed symptoms, including runny noses, coughs, and tiredness, they got to make sure that it doesn't spread to the others. Staff feared the other apes were vulnerable, and Nadine Lamberski, chief conservation and wildlife health officer for the zoo, told the San Diego Union Tribune, excuse me, I'm stumbling over my words, that it made them realize that even that the rest of the animals were at risk, not just tigers, not just the apes. So they want to make sure that they're getting that taken care of too. But again, that goes back to my point. What about the people that still haven't gotten it that want it? Because there's a lot of people that want it.
Or what about the people that have visited the zoo?
Yeah.
In a certain amount of time, a span of time. How did they reach out to them? And have you ever been to that?
Did you go to the gorilla exhibit?
Have you ever been to that San Diego Zoo? Have you ever been to San Diego?
Have I ever been there? No.
I mean, I haven't. Yeah, I'm just a question. Have you?
I've
ever
been. I know.
I'm sure that's a huge deal. That zoo is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Over there, so I'm sure. I got a cousin that lives in California that he travels to San Diego all the time. I'm sure he's been there numerous times. So, but yeah, I was just curious. Have you ever been?
Yeah, no, I've never been there, but I've checked a lot of. There's been a lot of news out of bigger zoos like Cincinnati Zoo and that sort of thing. But the thing about the company making the vaccines for the apes, Zoetis, they actually started their research development on COVID vaccines for animals last March after it was found in a dog in Hong Kong. So basically, right when we were getting shut down the very first time is when they started this. So it sounds like the production of that came out just around the same time the production for the human vaccine came out, which is good, I guess, but then you think, well, how much more work could have been put into the human stuff?
Right, exactly. If we would have been, thinking ahead,
could have got it out months
ahead,
earlier,
whatever.
Who knows? But these are two completely different groups. You got animals and two completely different organizations.
Right, of course, and obviously, like I said, that was my first thought, but we got to take care of us first as humans, obviously. So sure.
Like I said, we got a couple of animals in this one. You wanted to bring up the world's oldest known wild bird, a 70-year-old bird having a baby chick.
God bless her.
God bless her.
God bless her. See, I'm just an animal lover. I don't know where this came from.
And that's where all this. I'm glad that all this news is about animals. It's surprising how much of it how much news is about animals.
Right, right.
An albatross named Wisdom, according to the New York Times, of all things, wisdom.
Love.
You're going to be an old bird.
I love. That's the first thing that caught my eye. Right.
Wisdom has
right.
astounded researchers by hatching a chick at more than 70 years old, securing her title as the world's oldest known breeding bird. And there's plenty of jokes there I can make. You got about these actresses.
Yeah.
I won't go there. At more than 70 years young, Wisdom is, again, the world's oldest known banded wild bird. So it is still technically a wild bird, taking on the challenge of motherhood. The egg laid by Wisdom, a Lasian albatross, late last year on a speck of land in the Pacific Ocean, hatched at the beginning of last month. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says. Biologists believe that Wisdom, who first was identified and banded on the Midway Atoll in 1956, has hatched between 30 and 36 chicks. Possibly more, because when you go 70 years, I didn't know birds lived that long in the first place.
I didn't know they they
still make bird eggs.
Retired in Mexico either, because I actually clicked on the I might butcher some of these words, Lasian albatross, and I'll just basically read the little small information they have about the bird. It says in total population, this species is much more numerous than black-footed albatross. However, it is seen less often off the west coast of North America and generally further offshore. Although sightings have increased in recent decades, beginning in the 1980s, it has been found nesting on the islands off the west coast of Mexico, a range extension of thousands of miles. Oddly, several Lasian albatrosses have been found far inland in the southwestern United States. So, and then there's other more species. So I thought that was a really cool story.
Yeah, with a bird like this laying eggs at 70, I'm not surprised that they're starting to show back up. They're starting to have eggs for that long, and
right. And she's a
long.
beautiful bird. If you look at it, like very interesting bird. Like the picture, is I wouldn't have known about it unless you sent me the link. So
yeah, the article says
I thought that was pretty cool though.
The article says Wisdom has surprised researchers in the respect too that they're surprised they're having eggs as long as she has, saying that she's hatched chicks almost every year for the past 15 years. I'm wondering how come I didn't hear about this last year. I mean, I know 70 is a nice round number, but the last 15 years.
Right.
So I want to actually I want to see how long the Malaysian albatross lives, first of all.
Yeah, it's going to be...
How long do they live?
Maybe they have maybe she has an OnlyFans page or something like that.
I mean, that's one way to get attention. Who knows,
I mean, it's possible.
Jeez, let me see real quick how long.
One quick thing before I forget.
Yeah.
The next albatross, the next oldest albatross is it's a he.
We know who's making the...
I believe it's a he's ever come across is that, the professor, Richard Phillips, to quote him, that he's ever came across was 61 years old.
Yeah, and this is, I'm looking it up right now, saying the average lifespan of an albatross, of a Lasian albatross, is 40. Okay. So this thing's almost double the age it's supposed to be.
That's pretty amazing.
I understand that if they're not hunted, I get it, but...
Right. So, I mean, that still says a lot. It might be a small breed, but it's it's one that we need. It's part of Mother Nature. So I mean. So
now with about with a couple minutes left in the show, let's switch over to a topic, or rather a genre that you know a bit better, that more your forte. Let's talk some sports. First, we've got from USA Today, Tom Brady. His new, God forbid I bring up another Tom Brady article, but it's the off season. Tom Brady.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
you can't stay away from the guy.
You can't stay away from a guy that keeps in the headlines like this. I mean, his apparently his New England Patriots signed rookie card sells for $1.32 million to the CEO of Fitbit. And that again from USA Today Sports. Looks like the trading card industry it's got a new heavy hitter in this case with $1.32 million. And the thing is, it's autographed. If it's a rookie card and autographed, you got to think about how old it is. When did he sign it?
Right. Well, I mean, I seen that and I was just like, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
There was a Mike Trout rookie card that just went not that long ago. They just went last year for like almost $4 million, and I couldn't believe it. And I actually have a Tom Brady. I have a Tom Brady rookie card. It's not worth that. But
go get Tommy to sign it. It'll be worth a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, what a lot of people don't understand, and I'll talk just a quick second about this. When it comes to cards and stuff like that, and things are signed or not, you have to get things authenticated.
Yeah,
you have to.
Absolutely.
It's like a given, and you have to understand what you're sending in when you send it. And I learned that from a cousin of mine who has Topps cards from. You think I'm a big Tiger fan, sports fan. Well, there's always somebody bigger and better. And a cousin of mine, he has Topps cards from 79 to 89. He had over 80,000 cards. He does this for a living.
Wonder if he's got a Mark Fidrich card.
He has a lot of that. He has sent LK Line letters, and he's got cards sent back prior to him passing away.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's got to be worth a pretty penny too.
Conversation about that, and we did the timeline and everything, and I was like, Raymond, this guy was sick and he was still signing autographs to people. Mm-hmm. He had to be, because and that tells you the type of guy LK Line was. So
he's a people
person. He has that. He has numerous things in, and maybe one day you can invite him on the show or something like that. But when it comes to them trading cards and all that, you got to get them jerseys. If you get them authenticated, they're worth more,
a lot more.
Whether you want to get rid of them or you want to keep them for your own sentimental value.
I mean, this is evidence enough. You got to get it authenticated.
For sure.
The article's saying that the autographed 2000 Playoff Contenders Championship ticket card. So this wasn't just we're printing out dime cards.
Right.
It was a championship contender ticket card.
They're all numbered. Exactly.
It was graded an 8, and the signature received a 10. Yeah, 8 out of 10,
right.
And the signature received a 10. So that 10 means it was authenticated and it was in pristine condition.
Right. So imagine the number 1 card. Who got that number 1? 1 out of 10.
I mean, at almost 24 years later, I can't imagine anyone's got a 10.
Exactly.
Co-founder and CEO of Fitbit, James Park, says the record purchase, he made that purchase on PWCC Marketplace, an online auction house, and says he lived in Boston for 10 years, a huge fan of Tom Brady, and this year's Super Bowl was a mind-blowing accomplishment. We've talked about that enough already, but the card itself, I'm looking at the picture of it right now. I wish I had had done this before.
It's beautiful. No, I see it. I'm looking
it's
at
done
it right
by
now.
Beckett. So
it's Beckett 10, and see there's Beckett, and then there's
Topps.
Slipped my mind.
There's Beckett, Topps, and then there's one more.
Gosh, I can't think of the name. My cousin actually stopped going to them. So I'm trying so hard. But I mean, there's really only, a couple places you can get them authenticated from. But it's a beautiful card. It really is.
It is. One last article we've got just before we run out of time here. The WNBA unveiling their new logo and their Count It campaign to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the WNBA. I didn't know the WNBA was as young as it is. I didn't know it was only 25 years old, because the NBA's certainly older than that.
So hold on, wait. So you thought it was around a lot longer?
I thought it was around longer, not
really?
As long as the NBA, just a bit longer. I mean,
right?
If we get into the 50th anniversary
at the 25, to be honest with you,
a lot of those teams.
Wow, has it been that long?
I guess so.
Because it seems like maybe, and you know what? Maybe that's because I just started paying attention to it. But
So, well, thanks again.
I think it's a huge deal.
We're running out of time. We're running out of time here. Thanks again for
That's
stopping by, Alex. I'm Rick Antonio.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. For Rick Antonio's News Talk Report. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day and stay safe.
Mask up. God bless.